It is the Wyvern type hailing back from the days of Medarot 4, WVN00 Kuu-Wyvern, coming to the game with a kit of Hypercrept, Double Wave, Flight Legs, and the leg ability of Rambling, which grants the fight boost effect to self when charging Metaforce. Now this is a rather interesting model, as he has both ailments and a support skill in his arsenal, both of which are actually pretty solid and can be used very easily and very conventionally if used correctly. Hypercrept is probably one of the next best support skills in the game, probably under Dominion arguably, as what it does is grant 2 random buffs to everyone across the team. Now these buffs can be anything from shoot boost, fight boost, mobile boost, guard boost, anything of the like that is a support based skill, even potentially field control could be tossed in there. It's all basically a roll the die, so you can essentially spam Hypercrept more than once to get additional buffs essentially. So this is actually a stackable positive ailment in this case, highly recommended for that case, in the sense that in the case a support skill is required for a team build. Wave is an ailment based melee skill, as it inflicts no defend on an opponent and guaranteed that if a hit lands, it is going to be very, very painful on the target that's going to be on the receiving end. With Flight Legs as well, it means that Kuu-Wyvern has very solid overall naturally high mobility across the board, 963 at that base stat. Also with a very high evade at 1813 as well, means that he's going to be very likely dodging and grazing a lot of attacks that are not specifically targeted at him that he's unable to defend or evade from. Unfortunately, the double ailment in this case does kind of prove to bring up the redundancy argument, as once an opponent has been inflicted with no defend, it is kind of stuck there, and Kuu-Wyvern is just kind of stuck there, resorting to the support role with Hypercrept until he runs out of head uses, which again, he will kind of run out of things to do eventually, which kind of hurts his overall viability. However, in the sense of where he is capable of being used, he is going to be very fast on the field, and probably going to be a very large pain in the neck for any potential opponent that needs to maybe keep on their legs to make sure that they can tank things or maybe protect foes. No defend also prevents any shielders from being able to assume the line position to protect allies, as naturally with the no defend status, that also excludes any shields that are in play. Now his HP is pretty solid across the board too, about 3,400 for the head, about 3,000 per arm, just a little bit fragile there, but not enough, but more or less in that sweet spot. Legs at about 3,350 also is pretty nice. The legs are honestly going to be hurting just a little bit at that 807 shoot melee resist and the 553 shoot resist. So when hits come in, he's probably not going to be doing a very good job of reducing damage too well, but not enough that it's going to potentially cripple him, as say maybe someone like Antura, who has a melee resist of about 200 to 300 at the best. So for a pure set score, especially as an event reward that he is, I would rate Kuu-Wyvern a pretty solid 6.5 out of 10 for what he does. Wave also is a very solid ailment, as I've mentioned, does guarantee the no defense, so all hits that land are going to be guaranteeing the highest damage potential output possible. Hypercrept, like I mentioned, also is a very solid support skill across the board, and the fact that it is also essentially spammable and stackable, thanks to the fact that it gives random buffs, also does add to that extra viability that Kuu-Wyvern does potentially possess. On top of that, as mixed parts, I would rate him much higher at a 7.5 out of 10, primarily stated for the reasons above. Hypercrept can be fantastic on any team that needs support-based skills on the team, even if it does have that random effect added. Flight Legs of generally you can never go wrong with for naturally high mobility, even if he is not capable of holding any heavy parts. That can be overcome very easily and without any major issue. Wave also is a very solid melee ailment to consider, but in the case of Kuu-Wyvern, if you are going to use it, perhaps maybe switching out one of his arms for maybe another ailment or a conventional shooting or fighting method might potentially fix a lot of that redundancy argument and boost his overall viability while on the field.